Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So I guess Stephen, you go ahead with your
Well, first
Invader Zim.
start us off with how this went.
How what went?
Like what we're gonna talk.
Oh! Go for it, Bobby.
Me, I mean, all I know is Stephen. You just said you recently finished watching Invader Zim, right?
Yes, I did, and I heard that Gabby finished it long before us.
Yeah, around, I think, probably last winter. Uh, maybe like, November or so. I got to watching all of it.
Okay, and I mainly know about the show because of Bobby up here.
And ironically, I'm the one who hasn't even seen, like, I don't even think I've seen half the series. It was just, the thing about Zim is I came across it.
Oh, aptly enough,
I
have my version.
waffles, pigs.
I got something better.
Oh, and I have this too. I got this last year.
Where? Wait, I've seen that before, but I don't think you told me where
I got it at Long Beach Comic-Con last year because the voice actor was there for Gurr.
Cool.
Yeah, Ricky Simmons. Yes, I got it's got his autograph right there. So I guess I actually watched it earlier than that because I just finished it before going to Long Beach Comic-Con.
Huh, good timing.
Yeah, yes. It was great timing. I didn't even expect him to be there. We were in the art gallery. We were in the main floor, and I just saw a big sign there. I'm like, the two people I came with, guys, look, the voice actor for Gurr's here, and they're like, oh, where?
Yeah, he's gonna be at Long Beach Comic Con this year as well.
Too?
Like this weekend.
He is?
Yes. Yeah. I want to say hi again. Woot.
Yeah, Steve Dunn.
When is he gonna? Is he going on Saturday or Sunday?
Well, last year I saw him on Saturday, but I only went Saturday. I'm guessing he'll go both. Maybe?
I hope he does. I'm only going on Sunday. Which, by the way, for everyone watching, guess who I'm dressing up as? Not Star. Yes. But I got into Zim because I read this art book called Not Just Cartoons, They're Nicktoons. And I came across this show called Invader Zim, and I was like, "What is this? It looks so weird and dark."
Really?
Yeah.
It's been like an icon for goth people for years.
Well, I wasn't into goth, and then
I wasn't either, but I would see Gurr everywhere. Mainly because I really liked going to Hot Topic, even though I wasn't goth. But in the early years. They had little Gurr backpacks and sweaters. So I saw it and I'm like, I wonder what the show's like. Then in high school, I had a friend, Alicia Farias, who was a big fan of the show. And she told me about it, but I never got to watching it even then. I saw one episode, the one where Gurr replaces organs with random objects.
That was actually Zim.
Which is Zim.
The
which
most
is one of
controversial episodes, so from what I've heard.
Well, it's actually one of the better episodes.
It is, but it's also the most controversial, as it was tied to a crime. Actually, from what I heard, a young teenager claimed it as his inspiration at an attempt at terrorism at a school. Which is why we ended up not being able to see it a lot later in the 2010 and whatnot, where they just randomly showed it on Nicktoons. I didn't even find it on the main Nickelodeon channel. I saw it on Nicktoons.
Well, granted, we were really young when Zim was,
Yeah,
running.
and seeing how it was I would not have been interested in it as a little kid.
Me neither.
I would not. I would have been probably scarred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But later I found it. Okay, where are we going right now?
What I'm about to say is this.
Okay.
While it is shocking in areas, in my opinion, it's just about as shocking as something as, say, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which I'm actually about to say it. I think that's overall the more consistently funny show.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because when you look at Jonan Vasquez, Jonan Vasquez does not work off of comedy. He does not work off of the intent of making you laugh. His main thing is shock. You know, that's what you think of when you think Jonan Vasquez. Ew, thank you!
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. If you have not read this and you are of decent age, I highly recommend it. It is a great read. Oh. And thank you, Stephen, for letting me borrow it. I loved it so much. I want to get a copy for myself.
Yeah, because one thing I'm going to say over here is that I actually went into Invader Zim after reading Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. And as you know, I actually did have a lot of problems with it, even though I enjoyed it overall. And I went into Invader Zim expecting basically a quote-unquote more polished product. But I think my biggest problem with Invader Zim is that when I look at both Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Invader Zim, the best episodes and the best chapters is when he's making fun of how shallow people can be. But when that's
hold on
not
a second,
part
guys.
of the
I think
joke,
I'm being called. I need a moment. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't know. Should I like kind of clarify my history with Zim while we wait?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I don't know, because like I didn't like watch a full ton of episodes. It was just I watched what I could on the Nick website, and then years later I came across a couple.
Sorry, guys,
more
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I am glad I was at least able to be here for a little bit. If I hang up, I'm not gonna mess with you guys, right?
No.
No.
No, alright. Okay, bye, guys!
Alright, watch the video when it's done.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Anyway, so what were you gonna say, Stephen?
Alright, what I meant to say is that when I look at all of the episodes I truly enjoyed, and especially when I compare them to what I liked about Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, it seems like the best episodes for me were when they were either A, mocking just how shallow people can be, or B, taking some childish idea and taking it to its most violent extreme. But the thing is, while people definitely remember that as what Invader Zim is, a lot of times they kind of fall flat on just having to stick to that kiddish formula of here's the childish alien and the childish guy that wants to prevent him from taking over the world, and just kind of sticking to that formula. Like, there's a couple episodes in where they kind of linger too much on the fact of, oh, the filthy humans are gonna see who I am. I must find a way now to distract them with something else that's gonna take over the entire episode. Or the same thing with Dib. Like, probably to me, that's why, unless they were talking about something that really made fun of how shallow people is or get extremely violent, I wasn't that into episodes that solely focused on Zim or Dib.
So like Nano Zim?
Huh?
Do you know what like? Do you mean episodes like Nano Zim? Do you remember that one?
That's the second episode, the one with the
one where Zim goes into Dib's body. Like, that one is totally, a Zim versus Dib episode.
Yeah, that and Bestest Friend, because like one thing I will say is that I like some of the earlier episodes of Zim more than I do the later episodes, and especially I can't apart from I think the what was it? Yeah, the last two episodes, I didn't like any of the 20-minute episodes. Yeah, I actually got bored during a lot of the double length episodes.
Wow, because go on ahead.
Yeah, because like when I look at it, even though people know Zim for the controversy and such, and how challenging it is to kids, when you actually look at it as a grown adult, a lot of what it's saying is surprisingly shallow. Like it's very much like the best way I can sum it up is a lot of it feels like it was written by an angry boy who was a bit smarter than what people of his age would probably expect, but nowhere near as smart as people say that he is.
Hmm.
And I kind of and I kind of see that in Johnny the Homicidal Maniac too. But I think the reason why Johnny the Homicidal Maniac benefits is that it is written with no restrictions whatsoever. Like it literally gave Jonan Vasquez the freedom to do whatever he wants. So putting that anarchic style of writing and not attaching a formula to it kind of made for better stories.
I see. I don't know, but for me, I was able to get into much of the show. Like, I really got into the whole, like, Dib versus Zim duel. And I also enjoyed how much, the show, like, makes fun of, the world around.
They don't care, yeah.
Everybody is screaming, everybody is stupid, but I guess that's just kind of how I see. Not that I literally see the world like that, but it's, the cynical side of me. So I guess that's why I was able to get into it.
True, but it's cynical in a way that really seems, to put it bluntly, it feels very single-minded. Like it's not a matter of like, it's not a matter of like, it feels like people are single-minded because they will willingly look at something else to distract them from the horrible truth. It's like, no, they just can't even, they just can't handle the truth. And they're actually dumber than some of the animals in the show.
Well, yeah, I'll grant you that. At least the animals just kind of frolic around.
I think that's the reason why I actually like Dib's family more than Dib himself, because Dib was so consumed by this mission to find this one incompetent alien, and in the meantime, you got his sister who all she cares about is pizza and video games, and his brilliant mad scientist dad, who he might actually be one of my favorite characters just because of his voice. Like I love Professor Membrane. He's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, I was able to, it's so weird. It's almost like the way, like I'm describing why I like the show. It's kind of, what you expect from the typical Zim fan. But yeah. But I don't. So you think the main reason is, like, I've heard people say like Zim would have been better if it could have been less restrictive, like if it didn't have to be a kids show. Like, do you think that's the main thing?
Well, it's that's part of the reason, but the other thing is I just don't think it works well in the format of a kids show because like it is so encompassed in that angry boy mentality that if you don't really expand on that, even that starts to get old, even though it's doing something that is more innovative than what you would expect from another kids show. Like it's challenging in the way you expect it to go. Like, oh, kids don't have to just look at something that's all bright and colorful. They can look at something that it makes them feel uncomfortable. But my problem with it is half the time it feels like it's doing uncomfortable just to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, admittedly, I do kind of, like not everything that's uncomfortable just for the sake of being uncomfortable, but I still think it serves its purpose. So, yeah.
Like how many? Which episodes did you watch by any chance?
I can't.
I know you saw the controversial one, definitely.
Yeah.
You saw that.
Which it's funny, like as a guy who doesn't handle like gores well, I honestly wasn't that disturbed by Dark Harvest. But now that I hear like the background, it's just like ooh, okay. But like episodes I've seen are like Germs, Invasion of the Idiot Dog Brain. Zim Eats Waffles. I saw the Christmas episode.
That's actually one of the few 20-minute episodes that I liked.
Could you kind of explain?
Because essentially, like, I love the idea of how they kind of make the myth of Santa Claus and the worship of him almost as a Christ-like figure, and they kind of do something similar to what Life of Brian did in Monty Python, of just parroting that obedience to this mythical figure, and then turning that mythical figure slowly from like just something people fantasize as Data to that Data becoming a being of its own, and finally a giant monster that comes every 2 million years. Yeah, like it's that escalation in that one that I really loved, and
yeah,
especially just that idea, like an evil Santa Claus that was spawned out of love. That is, in my opinion, really hilarious.
hmm But yeah. To be clear, like I think you guys can tell that I'm not into just the Div versus Zim episodes. I mean, episodes like Invasion of the Idiot Dog Brain. There was one where like the people actually thought Zim is an alien. Like, have you seen that one? There was like this mob of people that like.
That's the first episode I saw, and I hated that episode, to be honest, because essentially, like, I just felt like those people. It turned into like they were just a one-note joke, and so even for 11 minutes, that felt like it went on too long. Like, I get the joke, and at first it was funny, but the more it went on, and how essentially it's like, oh, worship the alien, and then it's just one big chase out of there, it stopped being funny for me. Yeah. I think the only thing I really laughed from that episode is when Gur gets out of what looks like a party van, still dressed up as a dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, admittedly, it's not one of the more memorable episodes, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to wrap up soon. But would you watch the Invader Zim? Like, they're coming out with like a reboot movie. Like, would you watch that?
Probably. I am curious how they're gonna take it, but you can probably tell. Like, I'm not that big a fan of Invader Zim.
Yeah, honestly, and it's cool.
Yeah, like I just feel like it's as challenging as it could be when it comes to how much it can take with violence and gross out without being considered trashy. Half the time, it feels like it misses the mark. Like, I'm not one of those people who said like, oh, it got canceled for no good reason, Nick should be ashamed of himself. Like, no, I think that if you watch it all in one go, it's kind of hard to grab an audience out of that, because it does kind of get old if you watch it all in one go.
I see. And I'm actually one more question. What exactly did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac do that Zim couldn't? Aside from it's much more grotesque.
Well, I think the reason, what I mean by restrictions as well, is that because it takes more of an adult focus, there are moments for it, and they are mostly put up as jokes, but there are moments where it shows like these supposedly shallow humans still have like these out of nowhere humane moments, like contemplating suicide, even though you have no problem going on a mass murder spree over some of the most childish reasons, or like this whole idea of this one girl I met has made the most precious memory, and that precious memory will go away, so I have to kill her. It's like it just taps into that really dark, isolated mindset that I think Zim could go for if it wasn't restricted to a kids format.
Yeah, I see.
Like even that last panel I showed you of just Johnny sitting over a hillside, just leading up on a broken car, sitting out there looking out at the city. Like, that's a powerful image, and I just don't get that from any of the episodes of Zim. And I know Zim is trying to be more comedic, but the fact is, since it's heading already for that challenging area, you kind of expect more because of that.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying that Zim is more comedic than what makes Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Like, what genre is it?
Both of them are dark comedies, but I would say that Invader Zim is also half of it is gross out, because like honestly, like none of the only specifically gory image that kind of disturbed me was probably in Bestest Friends, where he replaced that annoying kid's eyeball.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the one that really disturbed me honestly was when they revealed Bloaty outside of the costume.
Which I have not seen.
Oh,
So,
Bloaty.
I know
is
who
like
Bloaty is, but it's like I've never
Ugly.
seen what he looks like, outside of the costume.
Oh, basically, imagine like everything inside that costume is actually real fat and grease.
Why am I just picturing greasy Akira?
It's kind of like that.
Okay, I'll have to look that up some other time. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to head out now. So yeah, thanks Stephen for coming on. I mean it's cool that unfortunately you weren't able to get into Zim, but yeah. So,
By the way,
yeah.
this whole time, you know why I'm happy?
So yep, you're the white. Is it the White Russian?
I just booted right now.
Well, would you say that got you through this?
Oh yeah. That it got me happy. Got me real happy.
Yep. All right, Steven. So I guess I'll see you next time.